Unauthorized practice of law is where someone is giving advice to a client or applying the client's facts to a particular type of law, but the person's doing it in a way in which he's not licensed. So if I'm standing here in Wisconsin and I'm licensed in Wisconsin and I'm giving legal advice to a Texan about Texas law without a bar card, unauthorized practice. I'm Nancy Rapoport. In about 6 days, I will be the acting executive vice president and provost at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. I'm also a law professor and a professor in the business school. I'm on a panel today on unauthorized practice of law. My part is the social science end of things. So if you know what bars you're licensed in, and you're a smart person, and I'm going to presume most attorneys are pretty smart, my job is to talk to the audience about why smart people do dumb things. So I'm going to talk about a couple of social science reasons why someone who knows he's not licensed in a particular jurisdiction still practices there. There's a lot of reasons why a very smart person can do things that later on you look back and you think, boneheaded move. And one of the reasons is called cognitive dissonance, and that's where people cannot hold in their brains two competing moral views of themselves. So if you think of yourself as a good person, and I'm pretty sure everybody does, and you do something bad, your brain's going to help you rationalize why you did the bad thing. So in unauthorized practice of law, you're a good person, you're a good lawyer, you find yourself giving unauthorized legal advice, you're going to say, but the client needed it and couldn't wait, and the client knows me more than any lawyer in that jurisdiction, so I had to do it. You're going to hear a lot of, it wasn't wrong because I had to do it, because the first rule is represent your client diligently and competently. The type of behavior that I'm talking about, all of the different cognitive errors, and there are hundreds of different types of cognitive errors, happen all the time. Lawyers are not immune from it. Sometimes when a cognitive error is particularly egregious, you can find the person wearing federal prison orange at the end of it, like the case of John Galeen at Millbank Tweed, who forgot to do the right type of disclosures and found himself in federal prison. So you think to yourself, all right, we know that humans make individual cognitive errors and group cognitive errors, like social pressure errors. So if you know that, can you prevent it? And the answer is sort of. You can come up with ways to do cross-checks to slow down your decision making and to make it harder to make bad decisions. But without those cross-checks, checklists, computer programs that ask you, are you licensed in that jurisdiction? Then lawyers are humans like everybody else, and the chances are decent that all of us will make bad decisions, even while well-meaning, at some point in their lives. My research involves the behavior of lawyers in large law firms. And so I use social science to study the behavior of lawyers in large law firms to see if the social science research bears out with a bunch of lawyers. Let's talk a tiny bit about social pressure because it applies a lot in organizations, including law firms. Solomon Asch did a series of experiments to see how much social pressure could affect people. And what he did was he hired 8 or 9 actors, and they sat in a room next to the experimental subject. The person at the front of the room would show 2 types of cards, one card with 1 line on it, one card with 3 lines of different lengths on it. He would ask, the card with the single line, which of the other lines is it exactly the same length at? And just, your eyes will tell you, by and large, if line A is like line C. So at first he goes around the table and everyone gets the right answer, and slowly the actors all pick the same wrong answer. And what Asch found is that it took maybe 2 or 3 people to change the subject's behavior. And the subject would either say, oh my goodness, I must be sitting in the wrong place. These lines don't look the same to me as they do to other people. Or the subject would say, well, I don't want to embarrass everybody else. Apparently everybody else has a problem. How does that matter? When a lawyer in a firm sees behavior that's not consonant with what he's supposed to be doing, and a couple of other people are doing it, that lawyer is more likely to go along with the bad behavior. In addition to my articles, which are on ssrn.com, one of my favorite books is published by the ABA, and it's by a colleague of mine, Jean Sternlight, and her co-author, Jennifer Robinault. It's called Psychology for Lawyers, and it is a wonderful book.